How's everyone doing today? All right, guys, let's get the stream likes to 100. Let's get the stream likes to 100. I look tired? Tired, Morj? I am tired. Paint my wall? I'm not gonna. Nah, I'll paint my wall at some point. All right. I am slightly tired. Reason being, I did go to the gym today for the first time in like a week. 1 week? I haven't gone since last Tuesday. So I was kind of, I don't know, a little tired. But, yeah. That's all I got. Alright. Supersonic Squad asks Morj, can you keep the audio off, do a silent stream? That is an excellent idea. I will file that away for another time. Dillionaire, thanks for the 5. Just wanted to say, Morj, you truly are my favorite YouTuber. Thank you, I appreciate it. And you deserve more credit for your intelligence and grasp of the story. Much love. Thanks, man, I appreciate that quite a bit. Thank you. Take inventory. Thanks for the 2. Shanks as a clone. Brother, hi, Morj, you're epic. Thank you. Thanks, man, I appreciate it. Shanks as a brother. Can somebody explain this to me? Because maybe I just don't get it. Why is everyone jumping to this dude being Shanks' brother? Is it like I'm not against it. I'm just like, what am I missing here? Why is everyone so certain that this silhouette looks like the same as Shanks' silhouette? Like that didn't even occur to me when I looked at this. It just looks like a dude with a sword. Like what am I missing here? Why is that? I don't quite get it. Talha, thanks for the 3. Looks like I found my Emu's number 2, Zora's final fight. Yes, yeah. That was the mysterious role that you were that was being talked about on the Reddit post. The silhouette, but is that even? I'm gonna be honest. To me, it just looks like a random ass silhouette. I would never have jumped to Shanks for, like, I don't get it. JWP says, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 5 months. It's from an Oda interview. If people are tying it back to the idea that Shanks, you know, the shot of Shanks without the scar when he was talking to the Gorosei, I could see that. That would make a lot of sense. I could see that. Chinua Alabatia says TCB looks like ass these days. These poor guys, they can't win. It's just like when OP Scans comes out first and looks like ass and is translated like ass, everyone's like, we don't give a fuck because it's earlier. And TCB is out here, you know, putting in the work, the time, the effort to give us, you know, decent quality scans with good translations, the best translations, right? And people are just like, fuck you guys, you're late. We don't care. Then they do it the other way. They get it out before OP Scans, and people are like, well, now the quality's bad. TCV quality sucks. I'm like, man, these poor guys, they can't catch a break. What do you guys want from them? Name, thanks for gifting 5 Morj memberships. Holy shit, what a streak you've been on, man. Okay, everybody, we gotta say thanks to Named again. Fenrir, say thanks to Named. D-Miz Mob, say thanks. NPC, say thanks. Mr. Shui, say thanks. Simon Lem, say thanks. What a role Named has been on. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Auditio, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 7 months. Sorry, 7 months. Morj, do you think it's possible that we will get an official reveal of Imu's design in the flashback? I should hope so. This is the best time to do it because, I mean, what other time is there to do it? We're in the final saga. The final saga is rolling. We're in the first arc of it. Shouldn't we be seeing the face of the final villain right around now? I mean, this is the what are the things that happen, right? So catastrophe struck at the reverie, right? Shortly afterwards, Lucia Kingdom was destroyed. We're getting all of this build up and hype towards Im, right? The man behind the curtain, the man behind the scenes, the guy running the show and everything like that. This is the time. Show us his face, right? It would be perfect to see him now. Schmike the Melts, thanks for the 2. Morj, we are brothers. I too used to live in office. Why were you living in the office? Caleb Brown, thanks for the 2. Morj, thanks for giving my dog CPR. Sorry it made you late. That's what I was up to. Forget the gym story. I was saving Caleb Brown's dog. Javon Johnson, thanks for the 5. I hope Scanlations get nuked, to be honest. Chainsaw Man Weekly with no spoilers is so much fun. Yeah, I like tuning into Chainsaw Man and just reading the chapter on a Tuesday. Honestly, Chainsaw Man, I'm not as pressed about catching the latest chapter as I am with One Piece, so sometimes I'll let a chapter slide, build up here or there. Chainsaw Man generally, and then I'll just binge it. Chainsaw Man generally also doesn't have as much content per chapter, so I'm usually fine skipping a Chainsaw Man chapter here or there. JWP, thanks for the 5. Wait, guys. We got to get the stream likes to 200. JWP, thanks for the 5. An interview talked about an evil Shanks twin theory, and Oda's answer had to be redacted. Could be anything, but was enough that it could be a spoiler. That is interesting. Is this going down the clones route? I mean, we've been messing around with clones for so long at this point. Why is there an evil Shanks? This is so... This is so random. Hakbach, thanks for the 2. 9 White Knights, 9 Straw Hats, Devil vs. God, just saying. Yeah, honestly, my next video, it's in the works. It's about basically Straw Hats' potential final endgame matchups. It's comparing God's Knights compared to Gorosei, compared to Seraphim, compared to Blackbeard Pirates, compared to Admirals. There's a whole litany of options for the Straw Hats for the final matchups. But the 9 God's Knights, it seems very, 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 very specific. Very specific. Also, there's something that nobody's talking about, or maybe people are talking about and I just haven't noticed, but it's almost too controversial to bring up. Let me respond to this super real quick and then I'll talk about it. Let's get the stream likes to 200. Name, thank you for the 5 and thanks for the gifted memberships. Again, the theory I saw about Shanks' twin was because they didn't show Scar or call him name when he met Gorosei, plus the Sword of Syl. Sword of Syl? I don't know the Sword of Syl part. I know the other part. It would make that whole scene of Shanks talking to the Gorosei make a lot of sense, because it's like, yeah, I get it, the world government is cool with Shanks for the most part, right? Not cool with Shanks, but, you know, they acknowledge him as a more peaceful fellow than the other Yonko, right? But waltzing into Marijua? That's kind of crazy. I'm very interested to see if that turns out to be Shanks' twin. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think that'd be really, really cool. It's just so... it's just so wild. It's just like... Now we gotta deal with evil Shanks, too. Darnell Sawyer says the silhouette could be anyone with a sword. That's the thing. I would never... Like, honestly, never. If I would just looked at this and had no context whatsoever, was not part of a One Piece community or looking at any other stuff, I would never have looked at that silhouette and even thought Shanks in my head at all. Because honestly, to me, that's like, you see the guy next to him, right to the left? To me, that guy could look like Dragon's silhouette if I... The silhouettes are so vague. It's just a guy with a sword to me, but, you know, maybe. The thing that adds more credence is this Oda interview aspect of it, and the you know, just the oddity of the appearance of Shanks before the Gorosei, you know? Let's see, where are we at? Bad Magic says I hate clones. Dude, there's been, I hate to break it to you, man, but we've been in Clone Piece ever since Whole Cake Island. What's the Sword of Syl? Twins separated by birth, says K Maya. I mean, so there's the... Okay, so if we want to play around with the evil Shanks theory, just for fun. If we want to play around with the evil Shanks theory, what we do have to work with is the ongoing theory that Roger... What do you call? Took Shanks in as a baby after the Battle of God Valley, just because of certain quotes he's had about, you know, like, we don't know Shanks' parentage, we don't know where Shanks came from. Roger mentioned something about, like, oh, it's been a bit since we've had a baby on board. Stuff like that, like, coming out of God Valley. So it's like, okay, so what if there were 2 babies born there? One went to and Roger fought on the side of the Celestial Dragons, right? At God Valley, right? So what if there were 2 babies at God Valley or some shit? One went to the Celestial Dragons, like they just took him in, and then one went to Roger's crew. If we want to entertain this evil Shanks theory, I don't know what to say about it. But if I have to spitball, that's some stuff that seems interesting to me. Zolden, thanks for the 5. Hey, Mr. Morj, off topic, but would you ever make Dr. Stone content? Would I ever make Dr. Stone content? Would I ever make Dr. Stone content? No. Been reading it recently and I think it's relatively unique for a shonen. I agree it's relatively unique, but at the same time... I agree it's relatively unique, but at the same time, there's not... Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I have no... It was fun for... I used to be a weekly Dr. Stone reader while it was coming out for a period of time, and I enjoyed it. It was a fun thing that just kind of mixed things. It was just different, as you said, from other shonen. I was like, there was never a Dr. Stone chapter, honestly, while it was coming out that I didn't find at least entertaining. I always thought it was fun to read a new Dr. Stone chapter. Never too serious, never too whatever. Just, zany little adventures of, like, here's how science applies to this or that or whatever, right? It was kind of like watching Bill Nye a little bit, And if you're not an American and you didn't grow up in American schools, you don't know what that is. But Dr. Stone was fun. Here's the thing. Every Dr. Stone chapter is jam-packed with a shit ton of science shit, right? So, it was fun for me to read weekly while I was keeping up with it weekly. It was fun for me to read. Then at a certain point, I missed a chapter here, missed a chapter there, etc. And then there was a big backlog of chapters that piled up. So when I tried to go back to read Dr. Stone, I found out it is a terrible, terrible, terrible slog to try and get through in a binge read experience, at least to me, because the plot isn't that, like, the plot is whatever, it's the plot, at least in the first arc that I was in, right? Really what it is, it's really fucking dense ass scientific explanations going on, every single chapter. It's just always a new science adventure, right? That gets old real quick when you're binge reading. So Dr. Stone is one of the rare series that I would say, for me personally, I think it is worse binge read than read weekly. I think weekly it is more fun. You get your daily dose of science or whatever, weekly dose of science, you know what I mean? And that's it. But binge read, I just lost interest, like 2 chapters in. I was just like, I'm not doing this shit. Like, anyway, so I'm not going to read Dr. Stone again. But I agree it's unique for a shonen. I'm not trying to say it's bad or anything like that. Maybe this speaks more to my attention span and what interests me than anything, but that's why I'm not going to get back into it. Josh Ferrer, thanks for the 5. Hey Morj, unrelated to One Piece, but are you going to be playing Tears of the Kingdom? Great question. I heard in reviews it's much harder. Not sure it's similar to Sekiro though. I'm not like trying to play a game just because it's hard or anything like that. I used to be the opposite of that. Like, the only game, like, before I started picking up some FromSoft games, right? The only games that I played were Zelda games. At least single player. Multiplayer, I played, Smash Bros. Melee, Overwatch, stuff like that. But not much. But single player, I played, I only really played Zelda. Mario Galaxy, I played a bit of Mario, I guess. But really, I'd only played Zelda for many years. That was it. Like, I don't play video games that much. I think I've said this many times. So, like, for me, it was a whole 183, I don't know. It was like a 720. I went way the other end of the spectrum, going from, like, Zelda, so Nintendo games, to playing FromSoft. So it's not like I have a need to play difficult games. If anything, like, in general, I like, Zelda's what I know. That's what I'm more accustomed to. Am I going to play Tears of the Kingdom? Am I going to play Tears of the Kingdom? I think definitely yes. The problem is that my Switch is currently broken. It technically works, but the dock part is broken. So, like, whatever it is, the switch, the actual part, the thing that you hold, the whole thing you hold with the screen and the 2 things on the Joy-Cons on the side, right? That part works, but the dock is broken. I prefer playing video games on, like, I don't like holding a thing, I don't know, I probably need to buy a new Switch dock, basically, so I can play it on a TV. That's all I gotta say. But I do really want to play Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm happy to see that. I thought that the trailer for Tears of the Kingdom, as a Zelda fan, for me, I thought that it is one of the coolest things I ever saw. The latest trailer, one of the coolest video. I mean, out of video game trailers that I've seen, right? I generally don't care about video games, so like for me, I guess it's hard to even rank trailers. But I thought like. I don't know how you guys gauge it or whatever, but for me, I thought that that's the coolest video game trailer that I've ever seen. Sorry if you guys want to come in and say, well, no, like this was way better, that's way better. It's like, okay, I don't have context. I don't know. I didn't play that game. But it's cooler than. I remember I was in high school waiting for Skyward Sword to come out. I think this trailer's better than Skyward Sword's trailer. There's that. So, you know. Patricia Zambrano, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 2 months. Can't believe you're on time today. Thank you. Someone's acknowledging that I'm on time. You're actually incorrect, but I still appreciate the compliment. Andrew Anderson, thanks for the 5. Seeing how the Yonko each have an idea of an ideal world, do you think we'll see something similar from Buggy? That's a great question. I didn't even think about that. Maybe. I think that that'd be really, really interesting if Oda wants to keep going down this route of what he wants to do with Buggy as a serious character. I think we could spin that and say that, in a way, if each of the main trio of Cross Guild offer a certain different aspect to the crew, right? Buggy is obviously pushing their direction right now, but Crocodile's still the person with a plan and real vision. I wonder if, Crocodile's been talking about this utopia country for such a long time. And that's still on his mind, right? I wonder if we get a more fleshed out idea of what that is once there's a bit more of a commitment, a forced commitment, obviously, but a commitment to pursuing the One Piece and becoming Pirate King. I wonder if we get a better idea of, okay, at least what's Crocodile's vision of this utopia that he's been talking about. I think that'd be great to see. If Crocodile kind of feeds into Buggy's plan in a certain way, and he's like, okay, well, maybe this is an opportunity for me to have my agenda come to fruition in a grander scale. Reflexy, thanks for the. I don't even know what currency this is, but thank you. Did you really not care for Laboon until Brook? I did not care for Laboon until Brook. I think we would care even without his connection to Brook. Also, wow, 5 chapters without Straw Hats. Yeah, 5 chapters without Straw Hats, and they've all been fucking amazing. I did not care for Laboon until Brook. I really, really didn't. Don't spin this as like, oh, Morj doesn't care for, like. It's hard to explain. It's like, I really do like in stories when animals are used for, emotional storylines and stuff. For me, I loved Chocho's story. Not in the anime, I didn't love Chocho's story because I felt like in the anime it dragged it out too long. But in the manga, I really like Chocho's story. Laboon, there's just something that always felt a little bit ridiculous and stupid to me about. He's just yelling. I think what it is with Laboon is how to explain. I think they anthropomorphized him too much, where it's just like, for me, obviously, like, the further we go in the One Piece world, we kind of, I don't know, we go along with certain things with, non-human creatures and stuff, like Luffy and Surume the Kraken and stuff, like we get full on, I don't know, whatever. But for me, early on in One Piece, it was still just like, they run into this whale, and Crocus is having this long-ass conversation with the whale. The whale's, like, yelling at Crocus, and Crocus is yelling at the whale, and I'm like, are we for real right now? The whale's just going, blah, and Crocus is like, no, your friends are never gonna come back. I told you, they sailed this way around the world, and they've been gone for 90 years, and I'm just like, this fucking whale, what are you doing? And the whale's just like, brah, 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 like, it's just yelling about shit, and then, like, Luffy stabs the whale with the mast, and then Luffy's like, all right, so now I'm gonna sail around the world and find you again, and the whale's like, blah, 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 all right, it's just, it's too stupid, okay? I love stuff, like, when animals are used well in stories to get an emotional reaction, that's some of the stuff that hits me hardest. So think Futurama the dog, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? But when it's stuff like the Laboon 3 to 4 chapters of like just us talking to the, I don't know, it just took me out of, I was basically just like, this is fucking stupid. Let's move along. The whale does not know what the fuck you're talking about. You definitely don't understand what the fuck the whale's talking about. Okay. Oh, has anyone seen Avatar 2, the newest Avatar? So, this is a mild spoiler for Avatar 2. I actually enjoyed Avatar 2. I'm not trying to shit on Avatar 2. I think it was a fun visual experience. It was a fun movie. I enjoyed Avatar 2. I thought, I thought it was worth the price of a ticket and everything like that. I enjoyed it way more than I thought. Okay, let me caveat it with that. But there's a fucking scene in Avatar 2 where like the one of the kids, right? One of the kids, he's an outcast or whatever. So he sails off far away or whatever, and then he runs into this whale that has been, this whale is viewed as like the scourge of the seas by the village. Okay, the entire village views this whale as like some terrible evil whale that it's committed some whale crimes and shit. Okay, so the outcast kid meets the whale, and like he's like, you know, you and I are like the same thing and stuff like that. Okay, we're the same. All right, like we both blah 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 blah. We're both outcasts or whatever. And then here's what happens: the whale blinks once. The whale blinks at him, and the boy is like, "What's that? Oh, you didn't actually commit any of the whale crimes that people said you did? Oh my god, and you actually were trying to protect your family and all of this stuff? Oh my god, and some evil people attacked your tribe? Oh my god." And then the whale blinks again. He's like, "Oh my god, this is such a..." The whale is like blinking once every 10 seconds, and then the boy goes off on some like really long ass talk about like understanding a million things that the whale has communicated through this one blink, and it is the stupidest fucking scene in the world. It is later revealed that the whales are very intelligent and that there's ways to communicate with them. But this was way before this was revealed. So from my perspective, it's just a whale, like the boy bitching about his problems to a fucking whale, and then the whale blinks once, and then the boy goes off on some weird delusional fantasy about all the things that the whale's experienced. It's, I don't know, it's a weird scene. That's very Laboon-esque to me. Not a Pro 64, thanks for the 10. To see the image of Shanks that's almost 1-to-1 with the silhouette, search up Hero Fandom Shanks and Right Now, before you forget, compared to the shadow. Guessing it's a relative from his clan. Alright, I don't like being demanded to do things right now, but I will probably forget, so let's see. Hero Fandom Shanks. Okay, what do you want me to search up? Search up Hero Fandom Shanks. Hero Fandom Shanks. Oh, that does look a lot like the silhouette. Here. Let me show you guys. It does look like that. I'm not going to pull up the silhouette from the chapter just because the chapter is very recent. We don't want to pull up recent panels from the chapter on stream just because of copyright shit, but that's true. It is basically that. Okay, good to note. There was the thing that okay, I'll bring this up in a bit, why this could be controversial. Guys, let's get the stream to 300 likes. Jay, thanks for the 5. Non-OG Admiral stocks semi-saved this chapter. Love to see it. Semi-saved this chapter. Love to see it. I guess semi-saved, but it's also just what they're supposed to do. You know, they're supposed to... This is basically exactly where most people had them at, you know, which is they're stronger than commanders. They're supposed to be stronger than commanders at full strength, but it's still like a fight, you know? Because here's the thing, you can be like, well, they're really handicapped and stuff. It's like, yeah, but Kaido could take one of them out without having, like, we saw what Kaido did to Luffy in Act 1, right? Thunder Bagua, 0 collateral damage or anything like that. For Yonko, they would take out any of these commanders without even needing to do collateral damage because their hockey's just that strong, right? Admirals are clearly more, at least these admirals are clearly more Devil Fruit reliant. Therefore, if they're allowed to go all out, it'd be more of a fight. I mean, it'd be an easier fight for them and they'd win probably no problem really. But, you know, like I think Oda's making it very clear, right? Commanders, admirals, Yonko. It's a pretty clear hierarchy at this point. Captain Face, thanks for the 10. Hey, Mr. Morj in time. Thoughts on a Moria level up? Moria is imprisoned right now on full of lead. It'd be cool if he's training like Luffy and Udon. He and Perona can join Cross Guild. Perona and Mihawk relationship. I think it would be cool if other Shichibukai ended up, getting recruited to Cross Guild. I think that would be cool. One thing that people have floated is the idea of what if there's an Impel Down break-in to rescue Weevil and Doflamingo or something like that. I think that would be cool. It's just that Moria, I don't know how necessary. If Moria is back in his prime and is able to use Shadow's Asgard effectively and stuff, then I could see him being a useful addition. Patricia Zambrano, thanks for being a yarn. Oh wait, no, we covered this. Covered you. Daniel Camargo says Arlong joining Cross Guild. Did I read this right? Why did I skip past this? Ugh, skip past this. What happened? Where'd it go? Fuck. Did he say Arlong joining Cross Guild? Arlong joining Cross Guild? Yeah, I don't know if they really care for that recruit. Nicholas Sealstern, thanks to the 5. I have a theory. I think Lafitte will be Zor's opponent. You're saying, hear me out. Alright, I'll hear you out, man. Lafitte is the only significant crew member. Just look back, he's a hidden right hand. I don't think so. Because Shiri's the only one that got a special recruitment segment in the story. Nehemiah Sayum, thanks for the 7. How many strides could you beat in a boxing match? No powers, Chopper's in human form. Chopper's in human form? If he was in little baby form, I could take him. How many strides could I beat in a boxing match? I think the answer is 0. Like, honestly, 0. I could beat Sanji because Sanji would not use his hands. And you're not allowed to use legs in boxing, so I'd win by default. That's the only one. But I would beat 0 because people forget. Your people can be like, well, what about Nami? You can't beat Nami. Nami actually, is, like, post-time skip Nami, obviously she's not superhumanly strong, but she's well above the average human. You can check out her in Fishman Island. She actually deflects an attack from a fishman, and fishmen are 10 times as strong as humans. She takes down Wanda, a mink, in hand-to-hand combat, or close-quarters combat in Zou. Nami acknowledges that Wanda is nerfed, but still, Wanda's a mink and one of the strongest mink warriors and stuff like that. So, even Nami's, there's no easy... Yeah, all the strats are above standard human ability by a good deal. Even Usopp at this point. Like, Usopp's jacked at this point. Like, Usopp's pretty jacked. And then Chopper, obviously, if he's in gorilla form, it's like, it's over. Caleb Brown, thanks for the 2. Are the Gods Knights set to be above Admirals? That is the question, right? I don't think all 9, because if we assume that... I mean, can we assume that all the Strats are fighting the Gods Knights? I don't know if we can assume that. It's a dangerous assumption to make, isn't it? The God Knights set to be above Admirals. I think I wouldn't be surprised if, like, the strongest of them are. Maybe 1 or 2, maybe. Or maybe 3, I don't know. That's what it comes down to is basically what are the Gods Knights for, right? It's pretty straightforward. What are the Gods Knights for? If the Gods Knights are set to be final matchups for the Straw Hats, then probably Zoro and Sanji's opponents will be stronger than Admirals among the Gods Knights. If the Gods Knights are set to be distributed amongst various characters, so maybe Dragon takes out one, Sabo takes out one, hell, maybe Law takes out one, maybe Zoro takes out one, maybe Sanji takes out one. If they're set to be distributed, then yeah, maybe a lot of them, even then, I don't think all of them would be stronger than Admirals. That'd be insane. It would also just, if they're all stronger than Admirals, it starts to get ridiculous, because it's just like, Yonko could have been wiped out infinite years ago, you know? Like, it's, like, I get that they're supposed to be there to protect the Celestial Dragons, right? The Gods Knights, but, you've got so much overkill at that point, right? You've got the entire Marine Force and the Admirals and all that stuff, right? The Admirals already serve as bodyguards to the Celestial Dragons, essentially, when the Celestial Dragons are walking the Earth, as we know that an Admiral gets called in if anything bad happens to a Celestial Dragon. So it's just like, if you've got 9 Admiral-level fighters in the Gods Knights, you could have just sent some fucking normal Admiral plus, like, a God Knight or 2 and wiped out a Yonko crew. Maybe 3, however many you think you need. Send them out. Sean Easton, thanks for the 5. If you had 24 hours of prep time and $5,000, how many Strahds could you beat in a fight? Strahds don't get prep time. Oh, this is more interesting. Okay, if I had 24 hours prep time, I need a little bit more than that, because with the $5,000 is not useful if I don't get time to spend it, you know? And Amazon, you can deliver overnight, but not everything, right? It's not like I can deliver... So I would need a lot of seawater. Seawater will go a long way in this matchup, because with seawater I could defeat Luffy, Robin, Chopper, Brook, right? I would need a lot of seawater. Wait, I don't have to figure this out. Okay, I'm going to say this straight up. With 24 hours prep time, I could guaranteed take out 4 Straw Hats. I could take out Luffy, Robin, Chopper, and Brook. Because I just need to figure out some sort of way to get them with seawater, okay? That's it. So those guys are guaranteed. And you might say, Morj, well, how are you going to figure, like, what are you talking about? What's your plan to get them with seawater? Bitch, that's why I have 24 hours of prep time. I don't need to tell you anything on the spot. I have 24 hours to figure it out. So, yeah. Could I figure out a way to trick Luffy, who is the stupidest character in the history of fiction, into somehow being doused with seawater? If I had 24 hours to think of a plan, guaranteed. Yes, easy. Keep in mind, Luffy is literally easily... Luffy can be fooled by one of his arch nemesis, one of his villains, his opponents, right? In a one-on-one match, simply putting on a chef's hat, right? He can be fooled by him putting on a wig. He can be fooled by his best friend in the world putting on a mask and calling himself the king of snipers. I will have no trouble figuring out a plan to outsmart Luffy. And don't even say Luffy would use Future Sight, because Luffy does not use Future Sight at the start of fights. It takes him a while before he uses Future Sight. That has been proven. See Luffy versus Ulti and Page 1. See Luffy versus pretty much any opponent since Katakuri. There's no chance that I would lose to Luffy if I had 24 hours of prep time and $5,000 in my pocket. Alright? Same goes for Chopper, because Chopper is as dumb as Luffy. Robin would probably be the trickiest, because I'd have to figure out a good way to trick her. Brook is kind of dumb too. I'd get Brook as well. Yeah, I think I could take all 4 Straw Hats that have Devil Fruits. That's pretty much a guarantee. Then Nami and Usopp, because they're kind of normal human beings, I could figure out like a normal way to trap them or trick them or something like that, I'm pretty sure. And again, I have no requirement to tell you what my plan is, because I'm allowed 24 hours to figure out a plan. So you can't get me on that. I have 24 hours. I don't need to come back with anything right on the spot for you guys. Just trust me, I would come up with a plan. So the only ones I would lose to are, I don't think I could find a way to take Frankie. I don't think I could find a way to take Zoro. I don't think I could find a way to take Jinbei. Sanji I could, because I just need... Yeah, you can... Sanji's a very glaring weakness, which is women. So you just need to construct some sort of a setup where... Yeah, I think Sanji's easy too. Sanji might be the easiest. Alright. Yeah, I think... Honestly, the world government should hire me. I could take out 70% of the Straw Hat crew if you gave me 24 hours and $5,000. Taylor Russell, thanks for the 123. Samuel Hawks, thanks for the 5. Marijua's palace is called Pangea, OG continent that will split apart. This fits your theory that Luffy hits Imu through the Red Line, creating the One Piece. I strongly believe that the destruction of the Red Line is the ending of One Piece. Take inventory, thanks for the 2. Do you like Guardians of the Galaxy 3? I have not watched it. I have no intent to watch it. I'm done watching Marvel movies. Until they tear the whole thing down and then do it again better. I'm done watching Marvel movies. Javi Sosa, thanks for the 2. Bro can never keep the topic on One Piece, bruh. I don't even know what you're responding to at this point. Was it the Avatar discussion? The Dr. Stone discussion? Big Bro Cook says... Fuck. God's Knights feel like another point in favor of Skypiea being a microcosm with Enel's priests. I agree. A lot of people said that the Gorosei are more so that. And you can see that in terms of... there's a shot with the obviously the Gorosei bowing in front of Im, but there's a parallel shot with the Gorosei all sitting in front of Enel. So there was the argument the Gorosei are to Enel what... are to Im what the priests in Skypiea were to Enel. But my thing is that the Gorosei were never hyped up as fighters at any point in the story. God's Knights feel better here, in my opinion. Also here to advocate for new Viz translation. This is not the place to advocate for that. There's no change that will happen to the Viz translation. from coming to comment in this stream, but, you know, your dislike for the Viz translation is noted. Glad to see it. The Viz translation is honestly so ass. It's like, it's so ass. And again, anytime I call it ass, I'm not talking about in terms of accuracy. It is technically accurate, but it's just like written in a manner that it sounds like ChatGPT basically translated or something like that. Like very technically correct, but no human would talk like this. Maybe they've just given it to ChatGPT. Maybe that was one of ChatGPT's first uses. Maybe it's just been hired to translate One Piece for the last 500 chapters. And then at some point they're like, it's good enough. Let's roll it out to the general public. Okay, Alito 5. What do we have today? This reminds me of the time I met Morj at Target. I asked him to sign my forehead. It's a very normal thing to ask for. But he grabbed me and smacked me down like Donkey Kong in Smash. I was disappointed until I realized that the brass knuckles he used left an imprint of his name deep in my skull. Thanks, Morj. What? So I have brass knuckles with my name on it? Alright, you're welcome, man. The JM Lou 11. Thanks for the 5. I came back after over 5 months of media fast only to see no Wano vid. Oh shit. Hope the community didn't bully you out of it and hope you're well, Morj. No, I just haven't finished it. Jay, thanks for the 10. My one problem with that silhouette being Shanks is that part of the sword doesn't go through the grip like Shanks' sword does. Oversight by Oda or not Shanks? I mean, I don't think... It's not literally Shanks as far as we know, right? No one's saying that it's literally Shanks. Like, Shanks isn't moonlighting as one of Im's top soldiers, I'm pretty sure. He's not like, alright, time to hit the hay. I'll just be outside let me take a walk outside the island real quick, Ben Beckman. And they're like, where are you going, Shanks? It's like, don't even worry about it. And then Shanks quickly swims over to Marijua and is like, I'm here for reporting for duty, Im. So it's not literally Shanks, right? Which is why I would imagine that the sword doesn't have to be the same as Shanks' sword. You know? JWP, thanks for the 5. I think Big Mom's crew would wash the Whitebeard crew. What? Whitebeard crew has 0 range attacks other than, like, guns, which is crazy. They're all hand-to-hand fighters. Why do they need ranged attacks? I don't know why they would need ranged attacks. The Big Mom, Whitebeard beats Big Mom. Marco beats Katakuri. Jozu beats Smoothie. Vista beats Cracker. I think it's pretty cut and dry. I don't think they need ranged attacks. You could argue that Big Mom's crew is denser as you go further down, but I think the counter argument to that is that Whitebeard's crew probably has more strong fighters that we just don't get time to explore over the course of Marineford, just because, there's not much time. Like, nobody thought Izzo's some phenomenal fighter during Marineford, but when Izzo got some time to actually fight and stuff, it was like, oh, Izzo is as strong, actually a little bit stronger than, ex-Drake and stuff. Talha, thanks for the 279. World government doesn't want the Yonko wiped. Organized crime. I think they definitely do, man. Because the organized crime doesn't help them in any way. Schmike the Melts, thanks for the 5. Morj, what's stronger, Arlong's blue hockey or Don Krieg's golden hockey? Also love you. Thanks, I appreciate it. Golden hockey. Golden hockey sounds badass, man. JWP, thanks for the 10. 2. Whitebeard has too many people that get hard countered by the abundance of Big Mom's crew, devil fruits that have insta-kill. Like what? High key, Big Mom is the weakest Yonko by far, while her crew, fleet, Whole Cake Island is by far the best. I mean, I think I gave the gist of it. I don't really know what the insta-kill devil fruits are you're talking about. I definitely don't think the mochi fruit is that. I definitely don't think Cracker's biscuit fruit is that. Perospera's candy fruit is actually hard countered by fire. We saw that right away from Red Hawk, so Ace would just cook Perospera's... Like, Ace would destroy Perospera pretty much immediately. Yeah, I just don't think that there's much that the Big Mom Pirates had. Like, Whitebeard Pirates have some broken fruits. The Phoenix fruit, the Diamond fruit, the Fire fruit, right? And of course, Whitebeard himself. G4162, thanks for the 5. Surely the Holy Knights or the Gorosei have to be roadblocks to Imu in the final war, right? There's no way they can both be useless, would disappoint. I don't think the Gorosei being useless would be disappointing because Oda never suggested that the Gorosei are strong, right? That's something that fans kind of just wanted because they're like, well, Im should have something, but Oda's kind of being like, well, here's the Holy Knights, right? Here's the God Knights. So I should hope that the God's Knights are strong, because the way the Dragon's talking about it, these are the heavy hitters once they make their move, you know? Name, thanks for the 5. OG, I thought Fuji was a swordsman that the Navy handed gravity fruit to. Now I think he was a gravity man the Navy handed a sword. Nothing but meteors. Yeah, I think Fujitora, it would go a long way to put some respect on his name if he could just kind of take out these guys without having to resort to his devil fruit. That's the way I look at it. The admirals, they should be able to take out these guys without their devil fruits, in my opinion. The way that a Yonko would easily be able to do. But they're not, so it is what it is. George Carey, thanks for the 10. With Law and Kid taking losses recently, I hope Oda gives Luffy and the Straughts a win at Egghead. I agree. I feel like it's too early for them to take a loss. Kizaru pulling up and wrecking the crew again wouldn't sit right with me at this point. I agree. I'm reading the responses to me saying I would defeat a lot of the Straw Hats. I get 24. I don't get it. I get 24 hours. I can think of something in 24 hours. Okay. You really want me to think of something? I'll give you guys something right off the bat. This is all I would have to do for Luffy. Literally all that I would have to do for Luffy. This is it. Okay? And tell me that this plan would not work. All right? I'm signed up to fight against Luffy, right? I leave out a giant pile of meat, all right? Like, I'm serious. Tell me the flaw in this plan. I leave out a giant, giant pile of meat, all right? Then, as soon as he takes a bite of it, I'm trying to think what the best way I think I just drop some seawater on him, right? I just have either drop some seawater on him, or there's like a trap door where he falls through and he lands in seawater. That's it. That's all you need to do. Why would this plan not work? Someone tell me. Tell me why this plan would not work. And that was with 10 seconds of thought. If you give me 24 hours, I would think of a plan that's literally, how many seconds are in 24 hours? 24 times 60, right? 86,400 seconds. So, if you gave me 24 hours, I'd be able to think of a plan that's 8,640 times better than that plan. So think about that. Why would that not work? Caleb Brown says drop some seawater on him, that's your plan. Why would that not work? He's distracted while he's eating meat. We know that Luffy's easily distracted while he's eating meat. And then you drop some seawater on him. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Hurrying Lyrics 44. Holy shit. Hurrying Lyrics 44. Somebody appreciates my plan. They liked my plan so much that they gifted 20 memberships. Holy shit. Thank you. I appreciate you so much for appreciating my plan. All right. Yokai, say thank you. Mohammed Sadeki, say thank you. Hakbak, say thank you. Steffi Forrest, say thank you. Random Person, say thank you. Kobakashi, say thank you. Jacob Busky, say thank you. Phoenix Flame 59, say thank you. Peter Falk, say thank you. Black Lightning, say thank you. Pizza, say thank you. What the hell is this? I lost everyone. Cash, say thank you. Hussein Fatehi, say thank you. Sway Shock, say thank you. Sri Datta Madira, say thank you. Tandil Nosa, say thank you. Steven Brecano, say thank you. And Carlos De Monte, say thank you. Squalid Creature says Future Sight? No, because Luffy doesn't use Future Sight at the start of his fights, and he doesn't use Future Sight just while he's wandering around or randomly. Future Sight is something that he only turns on at certain points in battle. I want to hear some answers as to why this plan wouldn't work. Virgil Hawkins, thanks for the 7-month Yonko membership from Justin Holland. Virgil Hawkins, I'm saying thank you for shouting out the membership. Hold on. Do you see the Straughts allying with the Revolutionary Army after Elbaf? How powerful are the Holy Knights in your opinion? Is Law still in the race, and are potential Straught upgrades coming soon? The Straughts allying with the Revolutionary Army. I don't know about allying, but I think that there'll be some situation where the Revolutionary Army is launching against the world government coincides with what the Straw Hats are doing. How powerful are the Holy Knights in your opinion? I think it depends. I talked about this earlier. Are they set to be spread out between Dragon, Sabo, stuff like that? Are they set to be spread out like that, or is it just for the Straw Hats? If it's just for the Straw Hats, then we can imagine them all to be, I think, minimum Vice Admiral level, right? And I think that maximum, the strongest would be stronger than Admirals for like Zoro and Sanji or something. And then, is Law still in the race? I think so, and potential Straw Hat upgrades soon. I think by the end of Egghead, we might see some potential Straw Hat upgrades, but nothing crazy, because I think the big upgrades come, I think the next big round of upgrades would be when they have their next big round of opponents, like the Blackbeard Pirates or something. As Steffi Forrest says, can you buy Kairoseki? So here's the thing. If I was allowed, if we're allowed to be in the One Piece verse, then it's effortless. Then me defeating Luffy is the easiest shit in the world. Easiest shit in the world. Because submerging someone in seawater is difficult. But if Luffy's eating meat, you can do anything you fucking want to him. You can have a Kairoseki capsule explode in his mouth or some shit. And then while he's hurt from that, then you just have a Kairoseki anvil or some shit fall out of him or something. There's so many things that you could do. It would be effortless, right? Alright. I'm working under the operation that we have to go by real world rules, which makes it more difficult, but if it's if Kairoseki's allowed, it's so fucking easy. Think about it like this. Have you seen some of the ways that Superman gets gets taught by kryptonite in the here's Batman. Okay, I don't know if you guys know this. Have you ever seen Batman's genius plans to take out Superman? A fucking child could think of them. It's so effortless. It's just here's an example, right? There's that story arc where Batman's plans get leaked of how to take down each Justice League member or something like that. Here's his brilliant plan to take out Superman. Listen to this, okay? It's literally just it's just have someone go pretend that they're about to commit suicide, right? And Superman flies over, and he's trying to talk him down, and because he's Superman, so he's a good guy. And then the person who's trying to commit suicide just shoot. The plan is they pull out a gun and shoot Superman with a kryptonite bullet. That's it. That's the plan. Tell me that you guys could not have thought up of that plan. That's it? It's just well, Superman really cares about people, so what if we make him go, have to try and help somebody or something in some way, and then that person gets him with kryptonite? Fucking genius. It's people hype up the Batman plans a lot, but usually when you look at them, the Batman plans are really fucking simple. The reason being that, it's not really Batman who has to think up the plans, it's just some, random ass writer at DC who has to think up with the plan, right? So the plan's never going to be that brilliant at the end of the day, is it? And look, if you can get Superman with that shit, who can fly basically near the speed of light, fucking yes, you could get Luffy with that shit. Luffy is a million times dumber than Superman. He can get distracted by a million things way, way, way easier, and he's way slower than Superman. And Kairoseki is the same shit to him as kryptonite is to Superman. So yes, Strats, any of the Strats, if I had $5,000, 24 hours of prep time, I'm not even saying this to gas myself up. You guys take some credit for yourselves. I guarantee most people in chat, if you had 24 hours and $5,000, you could think up of a way to take out Luffy. It's not that hard. You could think of a way to take out Chopper. It's not that hard. If you get Kairoseki on your side, it's easy. Blue, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 7 months. Do you think we'll ever see a Den Den Mushi fruit? I think it'd be really, really useless. Yokai says, yeah, and Superman has a single weakness. He doesn't need a super complicated scheme. Yeah, that's my point. I'm we should all be on the same page. If we had enough money and time, we could capture Luffy. No issues whatsoever. Because capturing Luffy is way easier than capturing Superman. Let me show you guys something, alright? If you guys really, really think... For the record, let me show you something. If you guys really think that it would be difficult to capture Luffy. Alright? Because it's very much not. Okay. Check this out. Literally straight up happens in the manga. What's that rope? It's just a rope. You got a problem? Stupid pirate. And that's about it. That's it. That's it. That's all it takes. It's not that difficult. Oh shit. Don't look at that. So, do I rest my case? Luffy getting okay. Straw Choco, thanks for being a member for 7 months. East Blue Helmet Po, low diffs Morj with prep time. Well, if they get prep time, then that's not really fair, is it? If they get prep time, that's not the same. Okay, let me catch up on the supers I missed real quick. Justin Holland says, my Yonko message. I got to it. Okay, hold on. Name says, OG, I thought Fuji was... No, we covered this. No, we covered this. Captain Face, thanks for the 10. I'm thinking, why bring Moria back in the story from death? He has a role to fill. Blackbeard didn't take his fruit. Holy Knights are combative celestial dragons. Plus Seraphim, plus Admirals, plus Gorosei is crazy. Thinking, why bring Moria back in the story from death? He has a role to fill. Why bring Moria back in the story from death? He has a role to fill. I think Oda just doesn't like killing characters, though. Blackbeard, I mean, he killed Absalom, but Absalom was a piece of shit. And that was off screen. That's true. Blackbeard didn't take his fruit. Holy Knights are combative celestial dragons. Yeah, there've got to be some strong ones. I mean, we know celestial dragons can be strong when they're pushed to it, right? Like Doflamingo. Plus Seraphim, plus Admirals, plus Gorosei is crazy. I don't know how many of them will be strong fighters. I really, really don't. Straw Chakra says, no, I'm saying he beats you who has prep time. Psh. Come on now. All I would need to do is, well, Helmeppo has no easy weakness, does he? That one's a little trickier. Taylor Russell says, golly gee, Morj, that sure is a nifty God's Knights poster behind you. Where, pray tell, did you obtain such an excellent work of art? If you actually want it, you can get it from the Morj store. Let me pin it. It could just be relabeled the God's Knight poster. Yeah, let me pin this real quick. Tusk the channel says, oh joy, I hopped in during power scaling talk. Well, it's a little different than usual. This is a power scaling me with prep time versus One Piece characters. Dragon is a former God Knight, says Growth Stonks. That's an interesting theory. Because there was a theory for a while that Dragon was the Dragon was an admiral, but the thing is that people say that a lot of people claim that Dragon's face and identity is a total mystery, which wouldn't really make sense if he was a formal admiral, right? Admirals are some of the most known characters in the world. But a God Knight would be really interesting. Hakbach, thanks for the 2. Morj, is it difficult to gym as a 4'2" dude? I imagine, yes. Grizzly Adams, thanks for the 5. Not sure if anyone asked this. Do you think the God's Knights are the strongest matchups? Dude, it's been all people have been asking about so far. Everybody really, really wants to know about that. Let's get the stream likes to 400. There's 9 of them, and the central figure is a swordsman. Yeah, I think it's very, very likely. But I don't think it's as cut and dry. I think that there's still other possibilities, but I think it's very likely. G4162, thanks for the 5. Is the theory that Shanks is a holy knight, but is just not present and is working to gatekeep the One Piece have any probability to you? I hope not. Oh, you think Shanks has literally just been, like, he's been living two lives, like Hannah Montana or some shit? Like, wait, what's the main Hannah Montana song again? Oh, you get the best of both worlds, right? You think he's just been Hannah Montanaing? He's just been like, I'm gonna be a Yonko and a God's Knight? I don't know about that. Um, not Sean Easton says not your best plan. 5K per stride per 24 hours. Wait, what? Yeah, 5K per stride per 24 hours, right? Rent a boat with Luffy. Go out and just fish for the day. When he goes to sleep, dump his ass overboard. Sean Easton. Sean Easton could definitely take out all the strides if you gave him 24 hours per stride per whatever. Look at that. Jack Mihoff, thanks for the 2. You not beating Luffy, bro. One Conqueror's Hockey stare and you slump. Okay, let's get one thing clear. Alright? I would definitely not lose to Conqueror's Hockey. I'm 100% tanking a Conqueror's Hockey. Not a punch. But there's no way Luffy's taking out me with just a single, Fishman Island Conqueror's Hockey style, just general release. That's not happening. Not in a million years. There's no way. No way. If it at least I would like to think. I think everybody likes to believe that that if they're in the One Piece world. One, I think everybody likes to believe that if they're in the One Piece world that they would have Conqueror's Haki. But I think at the bare minimum, everybody likes to believe that if they were in the One Piece world, they wouldn't just get taken out by Conqueror's Haki like a general, like a general fodder, JWP, thanks for the 5. I'm on the Big Mom bum agenda. Only Yonko with no feats. I agree. Also, the fact that it took Kid and Law to beat her proves they're also bums. Yeah, I agree. High-key, nowhere near Yonko. Yeah, nowhere near Yonko, obviously. I mean, we saw what happened with them versus Shanks. They're nowhere near Yonko. Oh, shit. Skylar Galusha just said, couldn't Green Bull create infinite food except meat? Yeah, and couldn't Strusen do it too? It's kind of fucked up. Every character we know about was a former God Knight. Arian Fogel asked, hey Morj, have you seen that Ifrit Jambe episode? Have I seen the Ifrit Jambe episode? I mean, I've seen the clip, and that's all that really matters. Look cool. Look cool. Look flashy. Grizzly Adams says, do you think Iceberg's Water 7 ship conversion plan will come into play when/if Frankie builds Pluton, possibly combining the two? That could be really, really cool. I really like that idea. I do hope that ship comes into play in some form before the end of all this. But I wouldn't necessarily count on it, Isaac Safe, thank you. Morj, as pirate captain, which one Shichibukai, one commander, and one supernova you want as your crew? That's a great question. BTW, did your mod that want to eat speed from behind get unmodded? I don't even remember which one that was, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these mods wanted that. Not just them. Most of y'all in chat. One Shichibukai, one commander, and one supernova. The question is, do I only get them? Do I only get those 3 members as a crew? Like, do I only get them, or do I also get other members? Right? Because if I only get one supernova, then it's like, well, I gotta pick Kid because I need a navigator, and Kid's the ultimate compass. Although then I could take Law though, because Law's a doctor. So by that same logic, I'm going to play it that way because that's just more interesting. If I need to take one Shichibukai, one commander, and one supernova, I would take Law because he is a doctor. I would take Mihawk because he is actually a 2-in-1. He's a strong fighter, and he is a, what do you call it? And he can navigate, right? Because he can navigate the seas fairly well. And one commander, but I could take Marco, and Marco's a doctor. I would take Jewelry Bonnie because she could keep me young. Ah, but her fruit wears off. I would not allow her as captain. I would say that you always have to be using your fruit ability on me. That's it. I'm captain, right? I'm allowed to say that. Okay, so I would take Marco because he's a doctor. I would take Mihawk because he can navigate, and I would take Jewelry Bonnie because she will always keep me young, and also we get a very, very attractive girl on the crew, so it's like a win-win-win. I think it just all works out. Straw Choco, thanks for the 2. No, I'm saying he beats you who has prep time. Oh, wait, we covered this. Sith Lord says, what do you think of the revolutionary strategy siege? I think that that's a fun thing to throw in. I don't think that One Piece battles will ever really, really be that strategy focused, right? You get little bits of it. We got a little bit of it in Marineford. We got a little bit of it in Onigashima with them being like, okay, we'll circle around this side and then do some shit with this side. But then at the end of the day, it all just turns into a big battle royale thing at the end of the day. Anyway, but I like that, it's the Revolutionary Army. They've been planning this shit for a long while, so therefore I think that it's good that we're at least getting some semblance of strategy written into the story. Ultimately, I don't know how important it'll be, but it'll be cool if it is important. Alright guys, let's get the stream likes to 400. Straw Chaka says, you're not that guy, pal. JWP said, thanks for the 2. I meant Future Sight, not Feet's Law. Not Feet's Law. Not Feet's Law. What? Oh, only Yonko with no Future Sight. Oh, okay. I mean, I would agree she also has no real good feats. Yeah, she might not have Future Sight. She really might not. I don't think we've got anything that suggests that she has Future Sight. Because I know for a while it was just assumed that, Kaido and Big Mom, when they're fighting, they're using Future Sight. But that's not the case. It took a good while into the Luffy versus Kaido fight before it was established that, okay, now Kaido is going to turn on Future Sight. Big Mom, it means that Big Mom was at no point in her fight using Future Sight as far as we saw. Does raise the question, does Whitebeard know Future Sight? I like to think he did. Hurrying Lyrics 44, thanks for the 5. Green Bull and Fuji are trash, and Yonko is winning that fight without just destroying Marijima. Yeah, I agree. Where's their hockey? Yeah, I agree. That's definitely true, but I think that Oda's making the hierarchy fairly clear at this point. It's, Commanders, Admirals, Yonko. I think it's pretty clear cut. I mean, you've literally got Aokiji. It looks like he's about to have a decently difficult fight against Garp when Garp is way past his prime. So it's just like, there's no way that Admirals are meant to be viewed as equal to Yonko at this point. Spade says bro thinks he's a celestial dragon. Oh, let's get the abilities to... Oh, sorry, I'm reading something here. Never mind. The abilities... Never mind. Future Sight, I feel like... It's something that... I miss Jaren's Rambo Super, says Captain Face. Let me take a look. Jaren's Rambo. How far back is this? I don't see a Jaren's Rambo. Oh, I do now. My bad. Jaren's Rambo, thanks for the 5. In your kid video, you didn't talk about Bleach rivals or put any in the thumbnail. Do you not think Renji or Uyu were Ichigo's rivals? Okay. I think that Renji stopped being a rival for Ichigo pretty quick. Like, I just don't think he was written as a rival ever. I think Bleach is a little bit different because there is no character that took up that role of rival for any extended period of time. I don't think any of them were really... Like, at one point, Renji was a straight-up antagonist. He wasn't a rival. He was just a bad guy, or portrayed as a bad guy, before Ichigo basically, they got on the same page if we're trying to save Rukia, etc., right? from that point on, I really don't think that they were portrayed as rivals. I really don't. I think that, it's just a guy that that like Ichigo's just so far ahead. I really don't think that they were ever portrayed as rivals past that point. Really, like past the Soul Society arc is what I mean. With Ishida, I think that they were portrayed as rivals briefly towards the beginning. Then for the vast majority of the rest of the story, Ishida wasn't a rival. Ishida felt more like, he's just on Ichigo's side the same way as Zoro or something. And then the last arc, it was suddenly like, oh, well, now we got to treat him like a opponent again. So I just don't think like there's anyone that, I think there's a huge difference between characters like that versus, a Naruto Sasuke situation or something where it feels like an extended sort of rivalry trope, that lasts for a good period of time. The way that, Luffy and Kid have had since Sabaody, or at least the portrayal of Kid and Law and the Super, like Oda keeps talking about them as the rivals, right? It's not even like people who say, oh, I never thought they were rivals. It's kind of ridiculous because it's right from their introduction. They're referred to as basically the rivals. And Shaki's telling Luffy like, oh, you need to know who your competition is, right? Pierce Sullivan, thanks for the 5. I beat Morj with prep time. I go for his bum shoulder. My shoulder is in good shape now. Sith Lord, thanks for the 5. What do you think of the revolutionary strategy siege? Oh no, we covered this. Okay, I'm a little behind. Lord Naga Viper, thanks for the 5. Has Shanks the God Knight been buttering up Luffy for the slaughter? No, he's not. Guys, I don't think he's Hannah Montanaing. I don't think he's doing both things. Gonna let him find One Piece and then snatch it for the Celestials. That would be wild, but I just don't think that's what's happening right now. Kelvin, thanks for the 5. Would you rather be an awakened Devil Fruit user with Haki or just a Haki user? This is a good question. Would you rather be an awakened Devil Fruit user with Haki or just a Haki user that has Conqueror's Haki? Can awakening make up for a lack of Conquerors? If you're saying would I rather, it depends. Are we talking about in the real world? In the real world, I have no use for Haki in general. There's almost no point in my life that I want to, when in my life do I want to use Conqueror's Haki or Armament? Like, it's just, I'm not going around, like, just trying to conquer the world or some shit, Observation Haki is the only one that has real life use, right? But let's pretend I'm in the One Piece world. So if I'm in the real world, I would want a Devil Fruit because it gives me some unique niche ability that probably helps me in my day-to-day life in some way. But let's talk about the One Piece world. Would I rather be an awakened Devil Fruit user with Haki, or just a Haki user that has Conqueror's Haki? In the One Piece world, I think being a Haki user that has Conqueror's Haki is generally going to be better. However, that's only contingent on you being able to get to Advanced Conqueror's Haki. Advanced Conqueror's Haki is when it gets really, really good, right? That's when you're just tippy top tier, or you can be tippy top tier. If you just have Haki, if you just have Conqueror's Haki but don't get the advanced development of it, then I would flip and say Awakened Devil Fruit user is probably better. Taylor Russell, thanks for the 12. Morj, very important. It's the Office Christmas party. What One Piece character are you bringing as your +1? Any character you pick will say yes by default, but reserve the right to dip whenever. You're basically asking like, oh, you're asking for the waifu tier list really, really early, right? I mean, honestly, Nico Robin. I think Robin. Robin's just always, I just hadn't, I feel like Nami edged over Robin for me past a certain point, post-time skip, but I think I would say that that's writing-wise, I think I would just take Robin first, overall. But it's tight, and I still wish that, I'm thinking in my head pre-time skip Robin, who I view as practically a different character. Oh, let's get no, we got the Streamlights pretty good. The thing is, let me just say this. I think a lot of One Piece girls, right? Um, they would be not. I think a lot of the ones that people really, really romanticize, right? Like, or, Boa Hancock, Nami, etc. Yeah, I get it in terms of fiction, right? Fictional fantasy or whatever. But in real life, you would not want to be with a woman like that. You would not want to be with with Nami in real life for an extended period of time. Like, you would not want to date her. Just personality wise, I think a lot of like a lot of these girls, like Nami, Bonnie, etc., right? They are very, very, let's say, aggressive personalities that I think you would stop finding enjoyable after some period of time. Same with Hancock. Unless Hancock was just like all over you like she is with Luffy, but then in that case, then it's just a really fucking weird relationship, right? Then it's just then you just got a fucking obsessive stalker practically. Robin is Robin is actually like fucking very kind-hearted, very, she's somebody that, like, in real life would actually translate to be a very good partner. You know what I mean? So I think people got to put certain things in perspective when you're going around fantasizing about Nami or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Aditya says, Cap, I love aggressive and fiery women. I don't think you get what I'm saying. Would you like a woman who beats you up on the regular? This shit's funny in anime, right? When she does that to Luffy, it's not funny in real life. I think people got to get their heads out of their, put some realistic perspective to the type of person that you would actually want to be with and interact with over a long period of time. Would you want to be with a woman who kicks dogs and cats and puppies and shit like that? I don't think so. I don't think so. But, you guys are all anime brained. You got your body pillows and shit. Sorry, I don't want to rain on your parade or anything like that. If you wanna keep fantasizing about Nami, sorry if I brought a bit of a dose of reality to it. Mugiwara Pirate, thanks for the 5. Hey Morj, do you think Seraphim have haki? If yes, do they have will? Can they harm Logia fruit? I think they have will. I think that's been established that they have will. But does that mean because they ultimately have to obey something higher than them, do they have the capacity for haki? I don't know about that. I think that it would be a damn shame if they can't use haki, because then we just don't really get to see the full potential of the idea of, like, okay, what if you had Mihawk with his full fighting abilities, including haki, plus Lunarian abilities, plus giant abilities, plus a devil fruit, right? I think that's the appeal of the Seraphim. Can they harm Logia fruit? I also think it'd be useless if they can't do anything to Logias, right? Strat Chaco, thanks for the 2. Michael Jackson and the Beatles had Conqueror's haki. Yeah, maybe, I guess so. Rice always says yes, but realistically speaking, she wouldn't really beat people up. It's just a gag. That's the character you're getting. That's just what it is. That's the character you're getting. I don't know what to say. I think there's not a single male member on the crew that Nami has not beaten up, except Chopper, because Chopper is, a harmless little animal. Ramen Stains, thanks for the 550. I really like Nami's friendship with Usopp, and because of that, I don't think she's as bad as you make her out to be. She beats on Luffy, but he a dumb. The lens people are going to defend this is crazy. I'm not saying Nami's like a bad... Like, we're all putting it in anime context, right? In anime context, yeah, it's a gag. Like, it's not a big deal. It's funny, right? It's the same way, like, Garp threw Luffy into the forest and stuff and beat him up as a child. I'm not like, Garp's a bad person. It's an anime, right? But I'm saying, you take this character out of the anime, you're dating this person... That's a totally different story, because the rule is you're not allowed to change their characteristics or anything like that from anime to real life. Then you're just dealing with a different person. You're dealing with some made-up shit, right? If you really want that character as they are, then you got to deal with it. And the gag's not so funny in real life, and that persona is not that funny in real life. It is not fun to be around somebody that's, like, flying off the handle at, like, the drop of a hat for, like, if you do something dumb. She beats on Luffy, but he's dumb. Yeah, but you probably will do something dumb that pisses her off at some point. That's just gonna happen. And that's just not fun. If you want to take out, like, oh, well, what if she doesn't beat you up? Yeah, but it's still not fun to be around somebody that clearly gets angry over a lot of shit anytime they get somewhat pissed off over someone doing something slightly stupid. That's not a good personality trait that you want in a partner. That's just true. But you guys are anime brained. You want to hold on to your Nami fantasy, your body pillows, etc. Don't worry. I'm sure she would be very, very kind to you. I'm sure she would never get angry at you. Pat Galley, thanks for the 10. Sorry to bring up basketball. Oh, shit. No, I'm sorry that I wasn't even thinking about basketball up till now. Alright guys, don't mind me. We're not going to change this to anything other than a One Piece stream, but I do have to check something real quick. Oh my god, please let the Celtics win. I don't want that. Please let the fucking Celtics win. I don't want these dumbass Sixers with their fake-ass MVP, who does have 28 points and is clearly playing well. But their fake-ass pity MVP, I don't want him progressing another round. These Celtics are such frauds, though, at the end of the day. Jason Tatum is not a superstar. He's not a top 10 player. That's where I stand at this point in time. Jason Tatum has 5 points on 1 for 15 shooting right now. In an elimination game, don't ever tell me that this man is better than Jimmy Butler. He's an absolute bum. Jason Tatum is not top 10. I thought about this for a little bit. He is not better than Devin Booker. He's not better than Jimmy Butler. He's not better than Kawhi. He's not better than Kevin Durant. He's not better than Jokic. He's not better than Embiid. He's not better than Steph. He's not better than LeBron. He's not better than Giannis. He's not better than... Who else we got? Dame. I think he's not better than AD. I feel like I'm missing people too. Let me take a quick look. He's not better than Luka. There's so many players, actually, that you can list off that Jason Tatum is clearly worse than. He's not better than Jaylen Brown. Like, it's actually wild. Okay. All right. Sean Easta says, bring Moda to office party. Regular person prop. Isn't Moda, like... I feel like Moda's, like... Isn't she, like, really young? Am I crazy? Sauce Fanon, thanks for the 5. My friend believes Zoro only beat King because Odin's haki dwells in the blade and that Zoro wouldn't obtain conquerors. Your thoughts? My friend believes Zoro only beat King because Odin's haki dwells in the blade and Zoro wouldn't have obtained conquerors. Your thoughts? No, because I think that the idea is... Look, at the end of the day, I think that Oda should never have phrased it as... Because the idea that it became later on is that Enma draws out your haki, but at the end of the day, it's supposed to be your haki, right? So it's just forcing out Zoro's own haki. That's the idea, as I understood it at the end of the day. But I still think it's really weird that Kaido was talking about sensing Odin's presence in the blade early on. I think that really complicates things needlessly, because I really do feel like, and maybe I'm biased, but I feel like the idea that Oda is going for is that in the King fight, it's Zoro's haki that is being drawn out by the sword. And ultimately, when Zoro's using Conqueror's haki, it's Zoro's Conqueror's haki that's being forced out by the blade. But it's still just weird that there was the Odin comment earlier on by Kaido. I think that could be attributed to just maybe some sort of residual essence of Odin, just like that's hovering around the blade or something. Like, maybe Odin, I guess like this, right? When a blade turns black, right, it probably, I know that Enma's not a black blade, but I'm saying, like, just the concept, right? It's possible to turn a blade black by imparting so much haki into it that it turns permanently black, right? So that's a concept, right? That would suggest to me, right, that remnants of haki can last on a blade, right? So Enma, even though it didn't turn black, it probably has some remnants to some degree of Odin's haki. Now, it's still established that the haki that's being pulled out is Conqueror's haki from Zoro during the King fight. It's Zoro's haki. It's pulling out the user Zoro's haki. So that's how I try and reconcile those two aspects, but, I still think that it's confusing language to a degree. Yeah, Jason Tatum is not a superstar. He is not... He's not a superstar. He's not a top 10 player. I think he's a good player, a very good player that has benefited from being on a phenomenally constructed and generally very well coached team over the last several years. Brad Stevens, then Ime Udoka, but generally overall very well coached, right? I think if you took a lot of players that we consider like a Donovan Mitchell or Devin Booker or something like that, and if you'd given them Tatum's situation for years, then they would have had similar success, if not maybe better. At this point, I think that even if Jason Tatum wins the NBA championship this year, it'll be because the Celtics are really good, not because Tatum is really good. How's the game still at 81-83? Okay. Back to One Piece. Pat, yeah, no, we covered this. You're the one that got me off topic a little bit. Ramen Stains, thanks for the 550. She won't beat me up because unlike One Piece characters, my brain is scaled to the real world and I'm smart. Yeah, that's a fair argument, I guess. Jolly D. Joestar, thanks for the 2. Robin has too much of a boring personality. Nami greater. I mentioned pre-time skip Robin, which I personally found. I think that she was a more interesting personality to be around. Post-time skip Robin, I think, is pretty plain, I think, personality. She feels like just simple librarian personality-wise for the most part. We see sparks of the old Robin, right? Like during the Black Maria fight, but how often is she going to be in a fight to the death, huh? Pierce Sullivan says, Morj, you need a toxic girlfriend, high highs and low lows. How about you could just have high highs? Luz Vasquez, poster frame fund. Oh, dude, the poster frame fund? The poster frame problem is that, like, how do I say this? I want to be swapping out posters pretty frequently, but I want to be swapping out posters pretty frequently, so like having a singular poster frame is a problem. Oh, the Celtics are winning. Is it thanks to Jason Tatum? Oh my god, he's got 13 points. Someone tell me, has Jason Tatum been doing better? You said he was at 5 points last time. How's he doing? Should we all call him a superstar now? Someone give me an update. OG3 says he hit 2 threes back-to-back, LMAO. Should I keep talking shit about him? Is that the key? You know what? Here's some more players that are better than Tatum. Who else is better? I think I tapped out who I think is actually better than Tatum. I think he's like a top 15 player. But he's not top 10. There's just no way. I think Paul George might be better than Jason Tatum. I don't know. Unless he hits another 3. He's not a superstar. Come on now. Superstar is like... He's a very good... I don't know. Superstar is... Can I ask this? Why are we sucking off Jason Tatum so much? Why have we been calling him a superstar for pretty much no reason for like the past several years? When like Devin Booker, who I hate by the way, I really don't like Devin Booker. Something about him has just annoyed me forever. But Devin Booker is playing like... Right now he's playing like the fucking best I've ever seen anybody... Like the best... He's playing the best I've ever seen anybody play pretty much ever. Right now, over the last several games. Maybe not quite last game, but like that's just... Even that's not a bad game. But this Nuggets series, like come on. He's playing way better than... I don't know, like Jason Tatum can play. Right? Like, why are we not giving Devin Booker his props? Can someone explain that to me? Because I legitimately, like... The way I would put it is... Nikola Jokic... That game that he had, like, 53... That's one of the greatest NBA performances... Probably you'll ever see. And Devin Booker was better than him that game. That's how good Devin Booker's playing. It's kind of crazy. But if I'm being objective, like if that was anybody, like if Steph Curry was doing what Devin Booker is doing right now, I'd be like, holy shit, Steph Curry, his peak is the best peak of all time. I would be saying that. That's what I'd be saying. But because it's Devin Booker, I'm like, whoa, he's accidentally playing like better than Michael Jordan. Let's just hope he stops doing this so we can forget about him. If I'm being objective, Taylor Russell, thanks for the 1234 follow up. I'd bring Tashigi. She's a goofy dork, but a fun and passionate dork. Love to see it. Different tastes for different people. Though it'd be funny to bring Smoothie just to frighten everyone with my 20-foot tall date. Listen, if you brought Smoothie around, she would be put in a museum right away. Some sort of a... she would be sent to a laboratory for study or something like that. One Piece character heights are... They would be viewed a little differently in the real world. Cigar Verk, thanks for the 5. I guess people generally forget that Shusui is a greater sword than Enma. Enma, on the other hand, has made Zoro stronger by demanding more. Yeah, I think it's just that there's no sword in one... Like, forget, like, which sword is a... There's no sword that has ever done anything close to what Enma does. Ever. Not at all. Right? So, that's why we have a harder time reconciling how good, like... Because you can say, okay, Shusui is a better sword, so my understanding is that the blade itself is stronger than the Enma blade, right? But Shusui doesn't pull out more haki than Zoro himself would normally be using, So Enma's doing something to... It's like the sword itself is the same, but Enma's giving Zoro some sort of a steroid buff. Now, I don't think that that's what it is, because I think it's been clarified that it's not really a steroid buff, it's just like, as you said, demanding more, right? So he's forced to push himself further than he would, but it's still what he's capable of. He's just pushed to use as much as what he... Pushed to do as... I'm trying to find a way to phrase it. He's pushed to use as much or even more of his haki than he would normally do. So it pushes him to be the best version of himself, I suppose, right? But it's still him. That's how I view it. Ramen Stains, thanks for the 2. Hey, Mark, make your dream One Piece basketball team. I think Luffy would be really good because of stretch. I mean, look, if we're being honest, I'd just go with, like, the strongest characters in the One Piece world, because once you're a certain level of power, the dribbling and shit is just, it's not as important. It's, like, you're gonna be they can all effortlessly dunk, right? So, yeah, actually, you know what? It would entirely be... Basketball would devolve into, because they can all dunk from full court. They can all dunk from full court, so it's kind of like, it's just whoever's you would need characters that can fly and that are fast. That's what basketball would be. Characters that can fly and are the fastest would win. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So like Kaido would be really good, Luffy would be really good, stuff like that. Grim says Booker only gets to play as good because of KD's impact, though. I would love to roll with that narrative. I really, really would. I would love to roll with that narrative, but watching the games, it does not really feel like that. Yeah, I think Booker is benefiting, but it's not the same as... You remember when, like, the Golden State Warriors had KD? Obviously, you guys remember. It's kind of hard to forget, right? But when they had KD, I think that the argument that Steph is getting KD better shots than he would normally get is that's definitely true, because, you can't, like, Steph draws so much defensive attention. But at the same time, it wasn't just Steph, right? Like, things were really made easier for KD because everybody on that team's really good. Like, they can't leave Steph open, so they probably got to double him a little bit, but then Clay's also there, right? And then it's just, everybody there is pretty dangerous in their own way. With the Suns team, it's like, yeah, they've got KD, but then everybody else on that team is not that effective it really is still, it's just Devin Booker and KD that are their two offensive weapons right now, right? So, and I really don't think like they're selling out completely just to stop KD. I remember during the Nets series, it really felt like the entire team was selling out almost just to stop KD and being like trying to force anybody else like Kyrie or someone to beat them. I don't get the sense that that's what's happening here. So Devin Booker is probably getting somewhat I'm watching. He is getting easier shots. They are blitzing KD. They're clearly trying to put more defensive focus on KD, and they've like clearly planned for KD better, but that doesn't change the fact that Booker's hitting, like, they've realized, I think at least as of game 4, they've realized how hot Devin Booker is playing, and like they've been guarding him pretty well too. I mean, as well as Denver's defense can, and like he's just hitting ridiculous shots. Like you look at some of the highlights and stuff that he's doing, you can't say that it's just like, oh, easy buckets because everyone's guarding KD. I don't think that's the case. Cigarverk, thanks for the 5. Now that we have Black Shanks, God Knight, he will be Zoro's victim. We will get Pin Shanks versus Pin Zoro. Why does whenever I tune in, it's a basketball stream? So this is one thing that I thought was potentially controversial, right? So if I almost said Black Shanks like you did. If Evil Shanks, let's pretend the God's Knight is Evil Shanks. Let's pretend. If Evil Shanks is Zoro's final opponent, and Evil Shanks is as strong as Shanks, meaning that Zoro will be fighting Evil Shanks after fighting Mihawk, meaning that Shanks is Zoro's true final opponent. You guys see what I'm saying, right? Would that not mean that Shanks is undeniably stronger than Mihawk? Mihawk fans, I would suggest that you hope and pray tonight that silhouette of the God Knight in the center does not turn out to be Evil Shanks. Because if it does, then you might as well tear up your Mihawk posters, delete your Mihawk fan fiction, throw away your Mihawk cosplay, because Mihawk is not as strong as Shanks if that's the case. That's all I'm saying. So think about that. You all better pray that does not turn out to be Evil Shanks. If he's Evil Shanks, the art, it's over. It's just over, man. Sauce Phenom says, thanks for the 5. Do you think Usopp is going to have Conquerors by the end of the story? I would love for him to have it. I personally think, I personally think it would go against the principle of what, I think it would go against the principle of what it means to have it. I don't, because I think that the greatest moments that Usopp has in the story feel like some of the greatest moments of willpower that we have in the story. And they feel like Conqueror's Haki moments. And I would say that you can look at, like, a lot of Conqueror's Haki users, they have that potential. Well, I would go back to Luffy, right? When Luffy was young, you know, what did Ace and Sabo refer to him as? They're like, oh, crybaby Luffy, weakling Luffy, stuff like that, right? Even baby Luffy was much braver than Usopp is day to day, right? Like, baby Luffy was trying to fight Higuma the Bandit and stuff like that. But, like, he was nowhere near as tough. He would run, like, he was not what he is later on, right? But he always had that conqueror's spirit deep down when things got, you know, like, I would argue standing up to Higuma the Bandit, that's an example of it, right? Like, don't shit talk my friend. Usopp has that same thing in him, where when it comes down to it, he has tremendous reserves of willpower, and he has tremendous displays of conviction and strength, right? It's just buried under so much fear. And I think that's what makes him such a great character in the story of One Piece, right? Because you have characters like Luffy and Zoro who, they're Conqueror's Haki users, and they seem like Conqueror's Haki users straight up, right? They never back down. They're always fearless, etc. Then you have Usopp, who, in his best moments, he looks like those guys. He has moments like those guys. It's just, it's, you've got to wade through so much of his cowardice, his fears, etc., to get to, in my mind, what is the true him. So I think it would be great if the true him is revealed to be a Conqueror's Haki user, just one that's seeped in so much self-doubt, right? And once you get past all of that, and once he becomes the best, fully realized version of himself, he's a Conqueror's Haki user. I would love to see that. But I understand why you think it goes against the principle of what it means to have it. Pat Galley says finals matchup. If you ask me what I want, I would say probably, I think Lakers Celtics, because then LeBron wins a ring, and the Celtics seem like an easy matchup for him. I think LeBron would destroy those Celtics. Anything else is kind of scary. Like LeBron Sixers, I don't know how that go. LeBron Heat, I'm saying LeBron Heat. I mean, I'm not gonna have, like, I care about LeBron, not the Lakers. I would not mind Nuggets Celtics or something like that, or Nuggets Sixers would be cool. For the rivalry or whatever. I almost would like the Nuggets to like. I think Jokic. Over the course of this playoffs, I've come to believe that Jokic is the best player in the world, and I usually like to see the best player rewarded. So I've become a bigger Jokic fan over the course of this playoffs. I would be very happy to see Jokic win a championship this year. It's just not this year, please, because it feels like this year is the last chance that LeBron has. If Jokic ends up leading the Nuggets to a title, I would be happy with that, even if it means that the window is closed on LeBron, because it feels very deserving. At the same time, for my own just like pure fanboy reasons, I'm like, yeah, I would want to see LeBron win just one more, and this feels like the year that he can potentially do it. But what do I think is going to happen? What I think is the most likely finals matchup, it's honestly almost impossible for me to say. It really, every series right now is 3-2, right? It's so difficult. I could not bet on it. 3-3. Oh my God, we got a game 7 on. We got a game 7? Holy shit. We got a game 7 coming up. Celtics Sixers. Holy shit. Wait, how does Joel Embiid only has 26 points? I swear I checked and it said he had 28 points, and that was like a while ago. Did they take 2 points away from him? That's hilarious. Javon Johnson says, do you watch any basketball YouTubers? I think you'd enjoy Thinking Basketball. He makes great analytical videos. I do when the topic seems interesting to me. So I won't pretend I'm like a regular viewer, but sometimes there'll be something that's pointing out the title will be pointing out something that I feel will help put something into perspective for me as to what's going on in the series or something like that. I have been regularly watching Jason Timpf of The Volume, because I think he gives really, really, really good and nuanced post-game analysis of basketball that I really don't see anything close to anywhere else. Thinking Basketball is different because that's like full polished video edited breakdowns. Jason Timpf just talks from what he sees right after the game, and it's so much more nuanced and so much more actually breaking down matchups and what the nitty-gritty of what's happening in each game and the adjustments and stuff like that. And I've learned so much watching that. I'm not saying it's better than Thinking Basketball, but it's like Thinking Basketball is different. That's like a fully produced product that's happening with a ton of editing and time spent into it. JWP, thanks for the 5. OP crews are really similar to the NBA, lol. Extremely top-heavy. Basically, any team with Yonko, i.e. top 5 player, are the only real contenders. Yeah, look at CrossSkill. They've only got, 2 really great players, but they're immediate contenders. Zolden, thanks for the 10. If the God Knights end up being the final fight, I'm glad they're being introduced now so we can develop them. I would agree. Unlike the Toby Ropo, who really didn't know much about. I would definitely agree. Definitely agree. Ramen Stains, thanks for the 5. Gonna start watching basketball just to understand Mildred streams. Streams. Look, I'll say this. I will always promote this. I think basketball is so much fun to watch, especially right now. It's the playoffs going on, because it is the easiest casual sport to watch, I think, period. Because there's only 5 players on the court on each side for a team. It's very, very star-oriented. It's just very easy to understand. The ball goes in the hoop. It's pretty much... I mean, that's not true. There's obviously way more to understand in terms of the nitty-gritty of what's going on, but it's not like football. Football's you need to learn so much for football to really appreciate the game. Basketball you can pick up on, and you can, honestly, lots of times it just comes down to 2 stars playing out of their mind and playing really well, and that's what you get to enjoy. Javon Johnson, thanks for the 2. Tatum at 16 in the 4th, and they won, lol. He's still not a top 10 player, because the biggest problem with him is inconsistency. But he's obviously got the upside that has so many people calling him a superstar. But he's not a top 10 player and that's not even a huge knock, because it's just that there's so many players that are clearly better than him, right? Like, who would you rather have, Tatum or Luka? Tatum or Jokic? Tatum or Curry? Tatum or KD? You can just go down the list. There's so many players, Tatum or Giannis, right? There's so many players that that are clearly more consistently great than he is. And who, if they had his team, would be pretty much the guaranteed favorites to win the whole thing right now. Talha, thanks for the 7. They called me crazy for saying Im has unknown subordinates. You should read the theory in full, not skim, for your upcoming video. Good luck. I mean, I think I got the whole gist of it, but a lot of that is going to be covered, not quite in the same manner, but it is going to be going through all the potential Stride opponents for the end of it. And I mean, I didn't think him having unknown subordinates, I don't think was crazy, but I was trying to fit it into like, okay, maybe it's a Seraphim, like maybe it's something we already know, Seraphim or Gorosei or something like that. But it being a Holy Knight, which has already been mentioned, I think that fits great. Cigar Verk, thanks for the 5. I said Black Shanks because of his silhouette. Zoro will pack Pin Shank before Mihawk fight. I guess Zoro won't fight him. Pin Zoro will defeat All God Knight. This is such an unhinged comment. All right, if that's the way it's going to shake out, you guys heard it here first. McDude says, yeah, soccer, football, greater. No, I'm not trying to say that basketball is better than these other sports, right? When I say football, by the way, I was talking about American football. You need to learn so much for American football. General football, like international football, I don't know how complicated it is to watch. Basketball is the best casual sport because very few players to learn about and follow, right? Very few players to learn about and follow. Very flashy, right? So it's usually very exciting plays happening every few minutes because guys can really fly, they can dunk, stuff like that. Lots of vertical play, and just high scoring. So there's just shit happening all the time. You can tune in, you can tune out, etc. That's why it's the best casual game to watch, in my opinion. Best casual game to get hooked on. Not saying it's the best game or the best sport. Those are two very different things. Football is easy, lol. Anybody can pick it up. Yeah, I think I think in terms of playing games, I think that basketball is on the higher end of difficulty because you do need more skill to learn to dribble, shoot, form, etc. Soccer is fucking easy. Like, I played soccer when I was a kid. Like, everybody and everyone in my, in elementary school and, even early, you're just thrown into rec league soccer because it's so simple. Obviously being good, I'm not trying to say, great soccer players aren't amazing. Being good is, the amount of skill you can get with soccer is crazy, but anybody at their basic level can dribble a soccer ball, pass a soccer ball, shoot a soccer ball, right? Which is not the same with basketball. Dribbling in basketball, even, getting somewhat good at dribbling is, a little bit difficult. Shooting is, you got to get good at, put it this way, right? You're not going to, you can be allowed to just stand and shoot a basketball and you can miss. You're not going to miss just kicking a soccer ball into a goal. So soccer is easy to learn, but, the skill ceiling very high or whatever. Basketball is probably a little harder sport to learn. Football is also very, very easy. Very, very easy to play, right? You just have to catch. Football is very easy to play. You just have to be able to catch and run. Most basic skills in the world. But I'm talking in terms of watching, it's the other way around, where basketball is the most casual, easy to get into sport for watching, whereas American football, much harder to get into as a casual, in my opinion. And international football, I don't know, but I imagine basketball is still better casual-wise because fewer players, more scoring stuff, you don't have to pay as much attention, you know what I mean? Better for casual fans does not mean a better viewing sport. That's not the same thing. I'm saying literally, me, as a casual viewer, I found it easier to get into and watch basketball because it's more shit is happening. It's happening faster. I don't have to pay as much attention. And I only really need to know a few players, basically. That's it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that makes it a better game to watch. All right? I'm sure, there's a reason, I'm sure, that international football is so popular. There's a reason that American football is so popular. You can really get diehard, very invested in each game, right? McDude says boxing / MMA is easiest to watch, just two dudes beating each other up. Yeah, and I mean, by that logic, tennis is also very easy to watch because it's very easy to understand what's happening. But then it becomes more so is this your cup of tea, right? Do you enjoy watching two people hit each other? Do you enjoy watching, tennis rallies go back and forth and everything like that? I was a tennis fan for years because, again, it's easy to get into. Cigar Verk, thanks for the 2. Ronaldo and Messi play football, so it's better. All right, you heard it here first. Jacob Busky says hockey is the hardest sport to get good at. I feel I don't know. Yeah, maybe, because you got to be able to skate too. I feel like that's possible. I feel like tennis might be harder skill-wise to get good at because you'd be surprised just to hit a tennis ball with correct form, and like to hold a basic rally with correct form. It's difficult. It's fairly difficult. Like like you got to learn a bit. You got to learn a while before you're able to do that. Even just hitting a tennis serve, like people do it for years, and people can practice serving for years and they're still not good at like. I remember I had friends I played tennis with in high school and stuff, like people on the tennis team and everything like that. Like a lot of kids like can't consistently get in 2 serves. Caleb Brown, thanks for the 2. Top 5 NBA players of all time and who's the current best? I view it 2 ways. Top 5 NBA players of all time. There's like who do I say is the greatest of all time and who do I just think is the best of all time? I think those are 2 different things because it's just different. It's like best, like players have been getting better over time recently. Greatest, I'll do a mix. All right, consider this answer a mix. I'm gonna say Jordan, LeBron, like I know I'm supposed to say Kareem, right? It's just I think Shaq is probably a better center than Kareem, but Kareem's a more accomplished center, right? I know Magic Johnson has won 5 titles, but I think that his game does not age nearly as well. Like I think Kobe Bryant is a better player based on how he is today than Magic Johnson. I don't know, man. It's hard. It's just hard because I really don't know how to weight past players, you know? Yeah. Who's current best? I think Nikola Jokic is current best. If I have to give a top 5, I'll say LeBron, Jordan. I think I have to say Kareem. Kobe or Shaq. I want to throw Steph in there, but he's not supposed to be in there. I just know he's not. Some combination of... Like, I think Larry Bird is a better player than Magic Johnson. If you compare what their games were, what their strengths are, Larry Bird's game translates infinitely better to today's game than Magic Johnson because Magic Johnson was not a good scorer, not a great shooter, not a good defender. Larry Bird's literally good at everything. Great scorer, all 3 levels. Great shooter. Not like all-time great shooter, but he's a good shooter, which would translate to today. He's a great rebounder. Great passer, not as good as Magic Johnson, but he doesn't have to be. He just has to be good for his position. And great defender. Magic was really just good at passing. He could score, but he's not like an all-time great scorer. So Magic Johnson's one of those players that I feel like his accomplishments are inflated by the fact that he played with Kareem his entire career, like a greatest player of all time candidate, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he played on like a really stacked team his entire career. So I'm hesitant to put Magic Johnson up there. Yeah, just Jordan, LeBron. I think I have to put Kareem. I think I have to put Kobe. I think Shaq. And I'm just going to leave Russell and Bill out of it because it's just too far back. I can't speak on them at all. I want to put Steph in there. But I feel like he just doesn't have the accolades quite yet to put him there. Sauce Phenon, thanks for the 5, and this is going to be my final question. Add on any person who has conquerors and has shown dominant traits since intro. If anyone who is scared becomes brave over time, anyone could obtain conquerors. I understand what you're saying there, but I think that with Usopp, there's a certain level to the scenes that he is given, and, like, the displays of, like, because Usopp gets, like, how do I put this? It's not just getting brave. It's the displays of what he does, like the sort of superhuman moments of will that he has that I think are kind of Conquerors-esque. So, for example, like, what do we think of when we think of, like, Zoro's willpower? First thing that comes to mind, nothing happened, right? With Usopp, first thing I think of, like, there's so many examples. The Mr. 4 fight, what happens to Usopp there, but how he's able to get back up and resolve himself, like, with fucking entire body broken, skull fractured, being slammed through walls. He's just a normal dude. And still, like, have the strength of will to fight back and actually inspire Chopper to continue fighting. I think that that's huge. I think that Usopp's one of the characters that actually has some of the most extreme displays of will that we have throughout the entire series. It's just that it takes so much to get that out of him, you know? So it's not just, like, him being brave. You know, I think it's different. All right, guys. Antonio Coleman says, not going to lie, the Magic slander is crazy. No, I mean, it's really not. If you go back and watch, like, one, Larry Bird was considered better than Magic while they both played. It's just that Magic's career was longer, so he ended up getting more accolades. But if you go back, like, you can watch the 30 for 30 and stuff, like, Larry was generally considered the better player while they played. It's in recent years that it's kind of been more like, okay, well, who got more rings, stuff like that. And it's like, well, Magic ended up with more rings because he played longer. He had a better team. He had better teammates. He won the longevity battle. But in general, if you look at Magic's game, it doesn't translate that well to the modern era. You can't be a player that's just good at playmaking nowadays. Even if you're the best passer of all time, you, like, in today's game, you need to be able to be a very, very effective scorer as well. Because there's too many players that can, like, there's too many players that are really, really good passers, like really, really good at making everybody around them better, but can also score and can also do other things. Like Magic, he's not a good rebounder. He's not a good rebounder. He's a bad defender. He's he's a good scorer, but not an all-time great scorer. He's just really, really, really great at passing. That's not enough for today. Today's players are too complete. All right, guys. Antonio Coleman says you could argue that Magic Johnson started the modern fast break. Yeah, like, I think if you want to talk about influence on the game, Magic is probably tippy top. But I'm saying, like, who do I think is best? Magic wouldn't crack the top 5 in my mind. Umer Ula, last question. Thanks for the 5. Morj, my friend thinks Shanks and Mihawk are already stronger than Roger. Can you please enlighten him? There's no way Mihawk is stronger than Roger. No, it's just ridiculous. I think there's a million quotes throughout the series that basically pretty much explicitly say that Roger and Whitebeard were the strongest pirates of all time, and everybody else has just been playing catch-up. I would love to expand on that more. Maybe I will at the start of next stream if you remind me, but for the moment, I do have to go because I'm running a little bit late. Sorry, guys. But, yeah, I just think that that's kind of crazy. Mihawk being stronger than Roger, there's no argument for that, man. Like, Roger's consistently considered basically, like, the peak of the pirate world. Like, Kaido talks about Roger as that dude that basically, conquered the entire pirate world with Haki alone. He's the gold standard. They talk about him being the gold standard in Impel Down, throughout Marineford, etc., etc.